The Bible, it often speaks of both sins, plural, and sin. Sins, they are the acts that we commit, every transgression against God's law. And we see this in Ephesians 2:1. But capital S, sin, singular, especially throughout Romans 5-8, is something deeper. It is the ruling power of sin that is operating through our fallen flesh, and it produces the sins, plural, that we commit. And another way of looking at it is that our greatest problems, they're not just what we do, not just the fruit. They are actually what we are enslaved to apart from Christ. We cannot expect anything but sinful fruit from a fallen tree. And this is why just trying harder, it never solves the problem. You can command a thorn bush to produce apples all day long, but its nature, it determines the fruit. And across Romans 7 and 8, Paul, he reveals 3 laws. They're not just external principles, they are governing powers at work within a person. And the first law that we see in Romans 7:22 is the law of God. God's law, it is holy, righteous, and good, Romans 7:12. And our minds, they can recognize its goodness and sincerely desire to obey it. We know what is right, and we long to do it. And yet the second law is the law of sin, Romans 7:23. And in Romans 8:2, it is also called the law of sin and death. This is the power of sin that is dwelling within our flesh. It continually resists the very good that we desire, so that, as Paul says, the good that I will to do, I do not do, in Romans 7:19. These 2 laws, they continually oppose one another within us. The law of God, it calls us towards what is holy. And yet the law of sin, it continually pulls in the opposite direction. So this is the dilemma that we face. God's standard is perfect. Our desire may even be sincere, but this fallen flesh cannot produce the life that God requires. It is corrupted, and no amount of determination can overcome the law of sin, because between these 2 laws, the law of sin and the law of God, they cannot defeat one another. And this is why Romans 7 ends not with a new method, but with a cry for deliverance. The answer that God gives us and Paul reveals is actually a 3rd law. It is called the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus, Romans 8:2.